Okay, picture this. You look at the clock, you promise yourself, I am absolutely getting to bed early tonight, and then suddenly, well, it is definitely not early anymore. We've all been there, right? It's literally a universal struggle. You tell yourself just 10 more minutes and poof, hours completely vanish into the dark. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking the fascinating psychology of exactly why we do this. So why are you still awake? I really want to hold a mirror up to that specific and honestly incredibly frustrating experience of fighting sleep. You know your body needs it. Your heavy eyes are literally begging for it, but something deep inside your brain is keeping you from just turning off that light and closing your eyes. There's this profound friction happening right there between your physical exhaustion and a mind that flat out refuses to shut down. It's 2 a.m., your eyes are heavy, and you know with absolute 100% certainty that you're going to deeply regret this tomorrow morning when that alarm starts blaring. And yet, you're still scrolling. You are plunging down a rabbit hole of like 10-year-old music videos, or you're reading some wildly detailed article about how they built Roman aqueducts, or maybe you're just dwelling on a random awkward interaction you had 3 weeks ago. You'll do literally anything except the one thing your body actually needs most: sleep. It's this irrational rebellion against your own well-being, but in the moment, it feels completely impossible to stop. Okay, let's dive into this, because it's time we stop beating ourselves up over it. Society constantly pushes this myth that staying up late is just a symptom of bad habits, poor sleep hygiene, or just plain laziness. And we internalize that. We feel immensely guilty. We go out and buy expensive pillows, we pop melatonin, and we tell ourselves we just lack discipline. But the reality is entirely different. Science and psychology point to much deeper, much more fascinating reasons for this behavior. Look, this isn't a hardware issue with your bed or your habits. It's a software issue. It's not about being lazy. It is about what your brain is desperately searching for in the quiet of the night.
Which brings us to reason number 1, reclaiming your freedom.
Seriously, think about exactly who owns your day. From the second you wake up, your time is carved up and handed out to everyone else. You've got the demands of your boss, the strict structure of school assignments, the heavy weight of family responsibilities, the daily commute, the endless errands. You are essentially a resource just being constantly depleted by other people and their expectations. It is a relentless marathon of obligations, and your entire daytime belongs to the world. But then, right at the very end of all of that exhaustion, there's a tiny, fragile sliver of time. And that sliver is the only part of the entire 24-hour cycle that is marked entirely for you. So, what actually happens? Well, when those daytime demands finally, mercifully, stop, it creates this profound psychological feeling of freedom. Psychologists actually have a name for this. They call it revenge bedtime procrastination. Even if you're physically completely exhausted, you stay awake. You actively push through that fatigue just to experience an emotional high, the high of enjoying time that feels completely, unapologetically yours. You're essentially stealing back your own time, exacting revenge on a daytime schedule that gave you absolutely zero autonomy. The later you stay up, the more you feel like you're reclaiming your own identity from a world that just demanded way too much of you. Moving on to reason number 2, escaping tomorrow's pressures.
Nighttime is heavily used as a psychological buffer against tomorrow. When you reach the end of the day, the night just feels inherently safe. And why is that? Because tomorrow simply hasn't started yet. You exist in this liminal space, right? A protective bubble, kind of suspended between the failures of today and the expectations of tomorrow. But waiting right outside that bubble is a difficult reality. You've got looming deadlines at work, unresolved financial problems, complex relationship conflicts, endless responsibilities. For a lot of people, staying awake becomes this desperate coping mechanism. Think about it. If you go to sleep, tomorrow instantly arrives. By refusing to sleep, you're subconsciously hitting pause on time. You are trying to delay the arrival of the morning and all those heavy, unavoidable pressures that come with the sunrise.
And that leads right into reason number 3, loud thoughts in the quiet.
After a long day, your brain finally gets a moment to breathe. But just think about the sheer chaos of an average day. Your mind is constantly bombarded by sensory overload. Your phone is relentlessly pinging with messages and emails. You're navigating overlapping conversations. You're managing a never-ending, ever-shifting list of tasks, dealing with constant background noise. Your brain is using absolutely all of its processing power, all of its available RAM, just to handle this daily chaos. Because it's purely in survival mode, just reacting to external stimuli, it literally does not have the bandwidth to process your deeper internal thoughts and emotions.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Because when the night finally arrives, all those daytime distractions disappear, the world gets quiet, and suddenly, your own internal thoughts become incredibly loud. Your brain decides in the absolute silence of midnight, that this is the perfect time to finally clear its massive backlog. First, step 1, it starts replaying memories. Not just today's memories, but completely random ones, like, heavily analyzing a slightly awkward conversation you had in an elevator 3 years ago. Next, step 2, it decides to plan out your future, suddenly flooding you with existential dread about where your career is going to be in 5 years. And finally, step 3, it attempts to solve every lingering, complex emotional problem in your life, all at once. It's an intimate, overwhelming rush of mental activity. Honestly, it is no wonder your eyes stay open when your mind is running an absolute marathon in the dark.
All right, reason number 4, the one more trap. Let's be totally honest with ourselves here. We are all incredibly guilty of lacking willpower when it comes to instant gratification. I mean, it's tough, but this is actually a fierce battle happening right inside our biology. We have immediate rewards, that instant dopamine-fueled satisfaction of just one more episode, one more funny video, one more endless scroll through your feed. From an evolutionary standpoint, your brain is biologically wired to prioritize rewards it can get right now. It craves that guaranteed hit of dopamine that a glowing screen provides. Opposing that, we have future consequences, the amazing, deeply necessary reward of waking up feeling fully rested and energized. The problem? That reward is 8 hours away. Psychologically and biologically, the immediate, vibrant satisfaction right in front of your face is vastly harder to resist than a delayed, invisible reward you can't even feel yet. Your primitive brain is basically always going to choose now.
And finally, reason number 5, finding peace in the dark.
This is perhaps the most beautiful and honestly validating concept. Many people notice that when the sun goes down, everything shifts. They actually think more clearly. They feel significantly calmer. They even feel a sudden burst of creativity. And why does this happen? Well, because for the first time all day, there are 0 interruptions and 0 social demands placed upon them. The mask finally comes off. During the day, you have to perform. You have to be the attentive employee, the perfect parent, the engaged friend. But at night, in the solitude of your own space, you don't have to perform for anyone. The mind finally feels comfortable to just exist. Because of this complete lack of pressure, you begin to deeply associate the nighttime with a profound sense of peace and true authenticity. And naturally, you become extremely reluctant to let that peace go by simply going to sleep.
Ultimately, staying up late isn't always about laziness or poor discipline. Sometimes it's about freedom. Sometimes it's about stress. This is exactly why we need to completely reframe how we view our late-night habits. We really need to stop that toxic cycle of morning guilt and replace it with empathetic understanding. Your brain isn't broken, and you aren't simply lacking discipline. Your mind is just trying to find a little bit of balance, a sense of autonomy, and a moment of peace in an otherwise incredibly demanding and chaotic world. Which leaves us with one final, deeply provocative question. What are you trying to escape tonight? Are you chasing a feeling of freedom? Are you dodging tomorrow's stress? Or are you just looking for a quiet, solitary moment to finally be your true self? I want you to really think about that the next time you find yourself wide awake at 2 a.m. staring into the dark. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of understanding today. I hope this explainer gave you some valuable, compassionate insight into your own mind, and I'll catch you on the next one.